track is clear. Dispatcher, over.
Thank you much. Cleared outbound. Out.
Hello everybody, and welcome to Conahey Rail, and I hope that everybody enjoyed my run of the this unit tank train. And I'm sure there'll be questions that are going to be asked, and unfortunately this video is going to be marked for kids, which means you won't be able to comment, so I'll try and cover some questions that you guys might have had during the video. You'll notice that the lead locomotive is a Conrail Heritage unit, Norfolk Southern Conrail Heritage unit. That particular locomotive is a Lionel Legacy. MTH also made one as well, but this one is Lionel. Next, you'll notice there is a covered hopper in the unit tank train, and I'm sure people are asking, if this is a unit tank train, why is there a hopper car in this train? If you look at any major railroad that are pulling unit tank trains, and these tank trains are loaded with any kind of hazmat material, meaning flammable or hazardous, they will use a covered hopper or a box car or something to that nature. But I see Norfolk Southern using a lot of BNSF covered hopper cars, exactly like this one, as a buffer car, they call it. So this buffer car is just that. If there's an explosion in the front tank car, the buffer car will buffer the explosion between the engineers and the locomotive and that first tank car. And sometimes we'll even load the buffer cars with sand to help absorb the blast, if there is one. And Norfolk Southern even goes as far as their cars, which I will do on mine too. Their cars are actually placarded or labeled on the side buffer car use only, do not load. That's why you see like a covered hopper or a box car in a unit tank train that you would see on the if you're rail fanning. So I tried to capture that realism. So I hope answers that question. So as I pan around here, I'm sure most of you are asking, Sean, what are all these tank car brand names in this unit train? And the first 8 cars are Atlas O 25,000 gallon series tank cars, and then after that, starting with the white TLX cars that you've seen in the video, which you can't see in the camera, but starting with the white TLX cars, they were all Lionel 30,000 gallon tank cars. Lionel did make, and it's still available at some hobby shops, what they called an oil train set, which was headed by a BNSF instead. I decided I was going to use my CSX, but then when I seen this Conrail, this Norfolk Southern Conrail Heritage unit, I decided that would be the locomotive that would head it. I do have plans to put a second locomotive along with it. I won't give too much away of what I've already picked out, but I will be getting that shortly. So that'll be like a surprise. The next thing is people probably wondering, well, if the Lionel made the oil can set or the oil train set, well, why did you put Atlas tank cars in with your unit train? Well, I was going to run an all Lionel unit tank train, but I quickly found out once I got to the point where I was getting like 10 to 12 cars on the train, the first 3 to 4 cars were actually pulling off the track in the curves. I do feature 072 curves, which is kind of like tight for a high rail layout. Most high rail layouts start at 080 and then go up to 096. Conahey Rail, the minimum and maximum is 072. So the Atlas O tank cars do weigh more. So I decided instead of trying to figure out a way to take the Lionel tank cars apart and load them with weights, I just went ahead and threw the Atlas O 25,000 gallon tank cars onto the front of the train. And then, like I said earlier, the Lionel starts with that the white TILX. So, how successful was my first run? It wasn't. I spent probably 5 to 6 hours redoing 2 sections of my track, because for some reason the Atlas O tank cars would make it through, but the Lionel tank cars would not. They kept the railings. So I found out that the trucks on the Lionel don't have as much movement like this. So if there's any dips, if the dip is too bad, there will not be enough movement. The wheels come up off the rail and then they derail. So your track work has to be almost perfectly level. There can't be any little dips whatsoever, because they will find it. The next thing is, just like with past Lionel products, I had problems with the knuckle couplers uncoupling. So I ended up zip tying them shut like I normally do. There's a fellow by the name of Harry Henning who shows you how to take needle nose pliers and bend the tabs. So instead of using zip ties, for me, it was quicker and easier just to use zip ties, and I'll show you one here real quick. So that's what I do for the pesky Lionel knuckle couplers that keep coming uncoupled. I just take a zip tie and wrap it around the tab so it doesn't come uncoupled anymore. It makes it useless to open. You could use rubber bands. A problem I have with, and the rubber band would allow you to still open it. The problem I had with rubber bands is after a while they dry rot, they split, and then of course they come apart. But so that's what I do. Everybody's got their own method of what they want to do. But if they didn't make that heavy thumbtack coupler, I don't think uncoupling would be an issue. You'll notice that the Lionel also features the blue wheel bearing caps, and so I'm going to make another video, a review video of this particular Lionel TLX car. So look out for that, and I'll go over those features then. So in the meantime, like I said, I hope you enjoyed the Conahey Rail unit tank train. It's something I've been spending a lot of time buying and putting together. It took quite some time to buy all the pieces that I wanted to create this train, and like I said, I wanted to do a little bit of behind the scenes of this video. Sometimes the videos that I create makes it look like, hey, yeah, that looks like you know, just it was an easy thing just to put on the track and run it, and it was not. And like I said, I put the Atlas 25,000 gallon tank cars out front because they're pretty nice and heavy, so they won't derail, and so the half of the train is Atlas, and the other half is Lionel 30,000 gallon tank cars, much like this one right here. These are sold in a 3-pack. The ones that are sold single are usually a sound car or have an EOT. I had the sound car, 3 sound cars. I decided to sell them. I didn't like them. And I had an EOT tank car as well. I ended up selling that because I'm going to run a buffer car at the end of the train instead. So some other changes I'm going to make. I want to add at least 4 more Atlas 25,000 gallon tank cars to this train. Once again, I won't say what road names they are. I'll add that second locomotive, and I'll make a second video for you guys and do another run. Thanks for your support. Thanks for subscribing and liking Dakman Productions on YouTube and Facebook as well. And we'll catch you guys later. Bye.